Good morning, folks. Merry stupid o'clock. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. Real quick. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do, the usual disclaimers and some bragging rights. Also, please excuse my allergies. Well, folks, thank God October Way Day is now over. I've got a couple days left. If I just manage to hit those numbers, folks, November 1st, before I even get on the clock, I am sending an updated resume directly to the customer service department. I'm not even going to waste time. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm hoping to get in there by this month. Before Black Friday and all that madness. Also, note of awesome yesterday, I had a wee bit of a freaking miracle. Holy crap, thank you. Thank you, God. I managed to somehow land a single sale over $21,000 in a single sale. So yeah, I had to take a quick break because I was in shock. I'm still in shock. So yeah, there's that. All right, folks. Now the usual disclaimers. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, where they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's quote-unquote behavioral modification program. The JRC doesn't want you reading this article so much, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused to comply, so you know the drill, folks. Please read that article. Get it out on all your social media. We also have NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding folks in case the JRC has cojones to see through with their threat. We also got the pertinent links to the Agape boarding school situation. Agape boarding school is a Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri, that takes in so-called troubled male teens, that has a pending 21 substantiated claims, allegations, and civil lawsuits leveled against it. Claims have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services that include sexual assault, sodomy, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, starvation, and yes, even child trafficking. And that's just for starters. We've got one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor who's still on premises with full access to the children, facing jail time for substantiated claims, multiple cases of sodomy and sexual assault of the students there on the premises. We have an attorney general too busy campaigning for Senate to do his damn job. Eric Schmidt. May he live in infamy. We got a freaking governor whose head's so far up Trump's ass he doesn't know which way is up and which way is down. So please, go to these articles, share them on all your social media. We also have the very important change.org Shut Agape Boarding School Down petition. Please sign, share on all your social media. We also got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Folks, we are reading words of Matthew Israel himself. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, out-and-out lies, and abuse of polygynesia. More trigger warning, first off, and second warning, you're going to hear a whole slew of obscenities come out of me, okay? Speaking of which, this channel is elected for, not for kids for a reason. We use profanity and we talk about dark subjects. If your child is 16 and under and they are watching this channel, please, parental supervision, I can't brain today. Tiffany can't brain. Is advised. All right? And it is 4:27 a.m. in the morning. Very, very, very obviously, I cannot brain nor string a coherent sentence together without stumbling over my words. So apologies for that in advance, all right? Also, apologies for clearing my throat right now, but holy crap. All right, executive summary. Some special needs students, I swear to God, every time I hear special needs, I fucking twitch. Can I tell you why we think terms like special needs to be destroyed from our freaking word vocabulary, why most of the disability community does? Because it's condescending as fuck. Every time you PC bastards try to clean up the language to make everybody feel better, you come off as condescending and ableist as fuck. That's what we have a problem with. We have a problem with holier than thou people changing the words, not to make us feel more comfortable, but to make them feel more comfortable and feel like they're doing good for addressing us at all. Okay, people in the disabled community want you to know that disabled and disability are not bad words. Stop with the differently abled or special needs. They're not special to us. They are just needs. There's nothing special about them. It's what the things we have to do to survive. Stop it with the special shit. We're not snowflakes. And stop with the differently abled crap. Do you all know how bad that sounds? You're just differently abled. For fuck's sake. Just stop. Stop, alright? Stop with your PC crap. And just use the terms the disability community has asked you time and motherfucking again to use, okay? It's not that difficult. Jeez, in a time when people are using their pronouns, you would think that they would respect the disability community enough to use the terms we wish to have used towards us. You'd think, right? But as usual, when it comes to disability, we never get a seat at the table when it comes to diversity now, do we? Just saying is all. Sorry, I got off track here. Let me finish the sentence. With severe behavior disorders, there we go, with the whole level different. It drives me nuts that autism is considered a behavior disorder. It is the most stupid, illogical concept. It's not a behavior disorder. It's a neurological one. Okay? Our brains are not built like yours in the neurotypical society. Okay? It's not a behavior disorder. My neurology may cause my behaviors. Yes, that is true. But that does not make autism a behavior disorder. It's literally a brain difference. Our brains are not built the same. If you look at them through some of our new technology, they don't even look the same. Sorry. Show frighteningly dangerous self-abusive behaviors such as gouging out their eyes, causing near blindness, smearing feces, headbanging to the point of causing stroke, skin scratching to the point of fatal blood and bone infections, pulling out their own adult teeth, running into a street filled with moving cars, or suicidal actions such as attempting to hang oneself. Okay, doctor, explain this to me then. How is electrocuting us going to help any of that? You do realize by shocking someone at the levels that are 3 times more powerful than a police taser, you can cause permanent internal damage, right? If you put in a new person in there who doesn't know their head from their ass, and you give them access to one of those shock machines, could that not end up being just as fatal as all the things you're mentioning? Matter of fact, you people actually neglect the needs of your students so much and don't really understand how we actually think and operate so much because you think you all already know anything, that you caused the death of Linda Cornelison because you all can't figure out the difference between someone having a behavior and someone in actual fucking pain who needs to go to a hospital. That should tell you right there all you need to know about your program and how false it is. If your staff members are so poorly trained that they cannot tell the difference between someone having a behavior and someone who is really sick, and because they're making noises, then proceeds to administer in a short few hours over 80,000 adversives, you don't deserve to be open. Jesus, I can't believe I have to explain this. The fact of the matter is, doctor, the treatments you use are just as dangerous as the behaviors you use as an excuse in order to shock them. Your machine is actually more dangerous, more psychologically destructive, more lifelong trauma inducing. Okay? If someone is engaging in these behaviors, the answer is not to inflict more pain. Again, I return to my premise of the idea of self-injury by proxy, in which you give them ample opportunity to do. If a person needs to self-harm, if they know they can't do the usual, but they know that you will shock them and cause them harm if they show a behavior, what do you think they're going to do? I actually would like somebody to comment about that in the comments, because I've seen it before back in early 90s when corporal punishment was a thing. People who would literally act up because they had those types of tendencies. You know what I mean? A long time ago, but there's a weird dark psychology behind it. It's very similar to the psychology of cutters. So they're not actually helping them get over self-injurious behavior. They're replacing one dangerous thing with another. Replacing self-injurious harm with torture. It doesn't work, does it, folks, when you hold it up to scrutiny like that? It doesn't work. Causing person harm in order to stop them from harming themselves doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? Isn't the whole concept supposed to be getting them free from harm, both self-harm and otherwise? So even on that premise, torturing them doesn't work. Because again, what happens when that threat is removed? The same behaviors return. And if a person wants to self-harm by proxy, we all know that the JRC are more than happy to push that button now, aren't they? As far as suicidal tendencies, again, why would they be suicidal, JRC? You have a tendency to bring in students that become suicidal who weren't before. Okay? It also doesn't make any sense how you're going to take someone who's already having suicidal thoughts and then you're going to torture them and see they're better? How does that work, JRC? How is that going to make a person less suicidal, less likely to try to hang themselves? It doesn't work, folks. Use your fucking heads. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. None. None. You, Dr. Israel, can paint me the worst picture in all the world. The most horrific situation. And I am still going to say the same thing. You cannot treat these behaviors with torture and expect them to work long term. The only way to do that is get to what's triggering these behaviors and work from there. If you never deal with the root cause, and I'm talking the real root cause. I'm not talking about your ABA nonsense where you think we're doing it for manipulation and control. I'm talking getting to the real root cause and you stopping assuming that you fucking think you know everything. The real root cause. Provide reasonable accommodations, assistive devices, or just working out a plan in order to deal with that triggering issue. That is treatment. Torturing someone is not treatment. But let's move forward here. Swallowing razor blades, taking a drug overdose, and jumping out of a moving vehicle, kicking, punching, and headbutting others. Again, you could give me the worst case scenario, doctor, and I'm still going to tell you every time torturing a student, starving them, traumatizing them with your bizarre behavioral lessons, it's not going to work. Remember that old thing from the 90s, scare them straight? You want to know why that never works? Because fear never works in the long term. We've known this throughout history. Fear often turns into rage, into anger. So, what happens when an autistic gets angry? What happens when we get overwhelmed? We snap. When that self-injurious behavior, or headbutting, or punching, or kicking, tends to happen. We don't intend to target others when we're in that state, by the way, in spite of what people like Dr. Israel will tell you. Other people's end up getting hurt, punched, or kicked, or headbutted when they put themselves in the middle of it. Okay? And I do have a video on what I recommend during those types of situations. But the fact of the matter is, what's causing the meltdown, which is what he's describing, by the way, exactly what he's describing there. Yeah. Find out what's triggering it, or several things that are triggering it. Work on those. That is treatment. What he does, fear never works in the long term. Fear causes anger. Fear causes rebellion. Okay? When we are faced with an injustice like that, the fear only lasts so long before the human spirit rebels against such an injustice. or else it breaks the child so bad that they might as well be catatonic. But let's move on. Some have pushed a parent down a flight of stairs, raped someone, and tried to strangle a parent while the parent was driving, and beat a peer so severely that plastic surgery was required. Here we go again. We're going to give you worst case scenarios. We're going to victim blame. Who expected this? Because I did. Matthew Israel is going to tell you about one fucking kid. One fucking kid. Who spent a short time there before they hauled his ass off to jail. He's going to tell you about that one person in over 40 years of having been in business and used that as a means and a way to justify the torture of all the other fucking students there. All the other students there. It's the token argument, the logical fallacy, because he wants to use that one student to paint the rest of us as monsters. Because if he can make us two-dimensional Disney villains, then people won't give a shit that we're being tortured and starved. If we're two-dimensional Disney villains, nobody cares if we're being traumatized, because they think that's what we deserve. They're doing only the same thing that the media has. They're just taking it one step further. We've been painted as inhuman monsters with no feelings and not really human for decades, folks. Decades. And the reason why we all hate April so goddamn much for autism awareness is they drag all those videos out to show us as subhuman fucking human beings so they can excuse either bringing in the money or torturing us with impunity. And nobody ever speaks up. Because Matthew Israel and people like that want to use us at our worst. They're going to find that one fucking guy and use it as a brush to paint the rest of us. It is not fair to use that one example to excuse torture on the rest of us who have not committed such crimes. Okay? And I hate to be this person or ever defend a rapist, but here's the thing, though, JRC. It still doesn't work, does it? Torturing someone who is already that angry and already deranged is not going to help. What's going to happen, like with any bully, when that threat is removed, when the sword of Damocles gets moved off their necks? Yeah. See, in these instances, instead of putting the guy on shock treatment, they should do what every other fucking state does, which is put on chemical castration. Why, folks? Because we know that actually works. But we can't have facts when it comes to you, can we, doctor? Some have attempted to injure or kill others by pushing a child into oncoming traffic, smothering a sibling, stabbing a teacher, or slicing a peer's throat. Again, here we go. He's going to paint us as the worst, most vile monsters on the planet. You see what he's doing, don't you? You see what he's doing. The good majority of the students there do not do these type of things. The few that do, again, fear only works so long. When that threat is removed from them, doctor, do those behaviors change? No. They come right back. It's torture for torture's sake. And Matthew, you can keep throwing this shit. Look here. attack police and therapists, set homes on fire, fire in school, lit themselves or family members on fire. Some have engaged in prostitution, involved in gangs, and assaulted others with weapons such as machete and chainsaw. Here we go again, folks. This is the same kind of victim blaming that Agape is going to use against the troubled male teens there. It's the same tried argument, and it's bullshit, folks. It's absolute bullshit. The fact of the matter is, those that are there due to a fact of criminal activities is such a tiny minority, it might be one student in a fucking decade. The majority of the students that are stuck in that hellhole called Judge Rotenberg Center are autistics. People with ADHD, people with Angelman syndrome, people with other psychiatric disorders. The majority of the students there do not engage in these types of behaviors. Some of them become suicidal after being there for a certain matter of time. But the majority of the kids there are not what he's describing. But he's going to use these particular students, maybe one every decade, to paint us all as monsters so you won't turn. So basically, so you won't even bat an eye at our torture, murder, the traumatization, the dehumanization. Basically, they're painting us as monsters so they can get away with doing whatever the hell they want to us and nobody will raise their heads against them. It still, doctor, does not hold up to real scrutiny. And the fact of the matter is, for those who are doing the more criminal, I'm not talking about the self-harm, the majority of which happens in meltdown, during clinical depression, or other such things. But I'm talking about the more criminally but they beat their parents, they beat their siblings, the majority of us don't. Matter of fact, I was the fucking target for my siblings. And that's a good majority of people who are autistic. I was target number one. Number one target in school and for my siblings, the ones that I lived with. Better believe I was. That's the majority. Now, a lot of times, but you hurt your sibling. After years and years and years of bullying and abuse, I snapped. Oh my God, drag me off in handcuffs now. You can only get punched in the face so many times until you get up, stand up, and punch the fucker in the throat. That's human nature. All right? Don't allow Dr. Israel and the people like them to use this as a means to paint us all as monsters. Also, do not use this as an excuse even to treat them with torture. First of all, it doesn't fucking work. It's nonsensical to use this kind of treatment on someone when we already know what works and what doesn't. There's a reason why fear has never worked as treatment. There are some people that you just cannot change. No amount of behavioral modification, torture, therapists, behavioral lessons, starvation, or sleep deprivation is going to change that. It does not justify torturing them. A, it doesn't work. B, for these individuals you're describing, yes, they are troublesome. Yes, they are sick. No, that does not mean I believe in dehumanizing them. No, it does not mean I believe that they should be tortured by you. It still doesn't hold the scrutiny, Doctor. And I'm going to close on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye. Oh, one last thing. When he does this, Matthew Israel and people like them, they want you to think that that is the majority of the kids at their school. They're emphasizing, even though it might be one fucking guy, that this is a representative of the majority of the kids in their school, so they can get away with the torture that they do. In reality, it's more than likely one guy, and he might have been a student maybe 20, 30 years ago. Also, they're not going to provide any context to this. Now, are they? They're not going to give any names or records or medical documents to back it up, because this is going to be the one time that they're going to say that we're protecting their privacy. It's another chest beating, trust me, bro, just trust me, bro. It's a shock and awe. Doesn't work. You can't shock me with your words, Doctor. I've been in the field too damn long. Again, as always, we hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.